Although the German army had encountered mines on the Eastern Front in 1941 and 1942, they had not been deployed in sufficient density to seriously impair the mobility of German panzer units. The situation at Kursk was totally different, because the Red Army had the time to create larger, denser minefields that were covered by direct fire. Walter Model realized that Soviet mines were going to be a major hindrance to the mobility of his forces during the initial phase of Cittadella, and he requested additional pioneer assets to clear these. However, unlike the British Army, which had made a serious effort to develop flail tanks and other rapid clearing technology in North Africa, the German army had not expended much effort in improving its mine clearing capabilities. Model's 9th Army was provided with 3 Funklenk or radio-controlled companies of Borgward IV demolition vehicles and 2 companies of Panzer Pioneers equipped with the smaller Goliath. Goliath was a German unmanned demolition vehicle. It carried 60 or 100 kilograms of high explosives, depending on the model, and were intended to be used for multiple purposes, such as demolition of buildings or bridges. Goliaths were single-use vehicles that were destroyed by the detonation of their warheads. Borgward IV was a German remote-controlled demolition vehicle too. It was much heavier than the Goliath and carried a much larger payload. The Borgward IV was operated by radio. Due to the Borgward IV's much larger range, a driver in the vehicle would bring it independently to its destination before dismounting and conducting it to its target by radio. When it reached the target, the vehicle would drop the charge and leave the danger area. While the Borgward IV was armored, its armor was inadequate by 1943, and its larger size than the Goliath made it much easier to spot. Model attached the Funklenk companies to create breaches for the Ferdinands and Tiger tanks, while the Goliaths were assigned to support the 78th German Infantry Division. These pioneer units were tasked with creating lanes through the Soviet minefields for the German heavy armor by driving the demolition vehicle into the minefield and then detonating them to destroy nearby mines. The Germans estimated that 4 Borgward IV would be sufficient to create one lane. However, the pioneers had no expedient means to mark the lanes, which would be quite narrow and hard to follow. The mine clearing for all the other units would have to be done by hand, by division and corps level pioneer battalions. It was expected that it would take about 2 hours for a pioneer battalion to create a breach through a 100-meter deep minefield. Complicating the situation, the soil around Kursk was heavily magnetic and prevented the standard German electronic mine detectors such as the Tempelhof 41 and Frankfurt 40 from functioning properly. Consequently, most of Model's panzers would be restricted to advancing at a snail's pace behind pioneers laboriously clearing minefields under fire by hand. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and support my channel on PayPal. Details in the description box.